Good morning, students, and happy Monday. So we're starting today with finding percentages of numbers. And it may seem a little confusing at first, but I promise it's much easier than it looks. So after you complete your review exercises and speed drills, we're going to take a look at these examples. So it says to find the percent of a number, change the percent to a decimal, and then multiply. So we have been changing numbers into percents for a while, and we've been changing whole numbers into decimals for a while. So if the number is by itself, like this one, 3% of 60, we know that when we have just one number, we have to move the decimal twice and add a zero. So remember, 3% equals 0.03 as a decimal. And once you do that, all you have to do is multiply it by the number. If you have a number with 2 digits, then all you need to do is also move the decimal twice, and you have again 0.4 times 35. So let's try it with our sample questions. So here it says to find 2% of 60. So the first thing we're going to do is change this 2% into a decimal. So remember, we would move our invisible decimal 2 to the right, and that would mean adding a 0. So we would end up with 0.02. And now all we have to do is multiply 0.02 by 60, and we'll get our answer. So I have another piece of paper just so that it can be a little bit neater. So we're going to do our whole number for 60 times 0.2. And remember, just as we multiplied our decimals in the weeks past, we multiply it first as if the decimal didn't exist. 6 is 12. We put a 0 for our second digit. 0, 0. And then we add, of course. And remember, because we're multiplying, since the decimal is 2 to the left, we're going to move it 2 to the left. So we end up with 1.20, or more simply, 1.2. Then, for our second sample, we have 30% of 40. So just like we did our first one, we have our 30%, but remember, we'd have to move our decimal to the left twice. So we end up with 0.3. And 0.30 works too, but 0.3 is what we want. Because notice up here, when there's a number in the tenths, we don't want to add that extra 0 right away. We want to remove any of the extra zeros. So we end up with 0.3 times 40. So let's go ahead and do that. 0. And we don't have to have a second row. We just move our decimal one time to the left, just like here, it's only moved one time to the left, and we end up with 12.0, or just 12. So just to reflect one more time, if you have a percentage where there's just one digit, moving the decimal to the left twice is going to require you to put a 0. If you have a double digit, moving the decimal to the left twice will only leave you with one digit, because remember that after a decimal, any extra zeros can be removed. So please let me know if I can help you with this over Zoom, and I'd be more than happy to redo our sample questions or do some extra questions to help you understand. But mostly it's just remembering how to multiply those decimals and move the initial decimal to the left and move the decimal in your answer also to the left. And here for our language arts assignment, we are reviewing modifiers. So we are coming very close to the end of Unit 5, where we've learned all about modifiers, and today we're just going to do a review. So on Think A, you're going to underline the adjectives and circle the adverbs. We've been doing adjectives and adverbs for quite a while now. So it says to be prepared to tell your teacher the word that each adjective and adverb modifies. Well, I'm not going to be there, so you don't have to do that. Normally, you would draw an arrow to the word it modifies, but I'm not going to have you do that today. Just underline the adjectives, which remember are those describing words, and circle the adverbs. You have lists of adverbs in the previous pages. Sometimes they end in ly, and you have lots of examples of adjectives as well, which are usually those describing words that describe nouns, and the adverbs that describe adjectives and other adverbs. So here it does say to go back and diagram all the odd number sentences. So if you listen carefully, you do not have to do that. You've diagrammed many sentences last week. You do not have to use an extra piece of paper to diagram them. But you do have to do Think B, which is again identifying those nouns, adjectives, adverbs, and verbs, and you're just going to underline, look at the underlined word and decide whether it's a noun, adjective, adverb, or verb. So read the entire sentence, pay close attention to the underlined word, and then decide, and then put your contraction for the word here. So N for noun, ADJ for adjective, ADV for adverb, and V for verb. And before we start our spelling, just a quick reminder that we have a live read-along today for the Phantom Toll Booth for Chapter 7, and we can go over our assignment also for Chapter 7 for the day. And here for our spelling for Monday, we are starting a new list. It's list 20, and this list has already been uploaded to Spelling City. So I'm going to go over our words as usual and then explain our assignment. So our pattern words for this week are afford, source, chores, normal, internal, squirrel, nervous, purpose, calendar, searching, particular, courtroom. Content words are habitat, tolerate, nourished, carnivore, herbivore, marsupial, vertebrates. And our vocabulary words are recapture, intercept, admittance, and remittance. So here for our assignment for our pattern words, it talks about R words, in this case R controlled words, which are vowels or combinations of vowels that precede means come in front of R or double R. The letter R affects the sound of the vowel or vowels. The OR sound or sound is in afford, and the sound is heard in purpose. So write the pattern words to complete the sentences and sort the R-controlled vowel words and circle each R-controlled spelling. So this may seem difficult, but it gives you so many hints. So all you're going to do is for numbers 1 through 5, you're going to find all of your pattern words that are spelled with an OR, an ORE, or an OUR. So if you find those combinations in the words, you're going to write them for 1 through 5. And then for 6 through 12, you're going to write all of the words that have a combination of AR, EAR, ER, IRR, or UR. And it's just telling the difference between words that sound like or and words that have an sound. But the spellings are right here, so just find those combinations within the words. And our content word assignment is just the same as usual, using our letter hints and our content words as well as our spelling dictionary if needed to help fill in the blanks. And this will be our little mini science project for the day. We're going to be learning about respiratory systems, digestive system, and our circulatory system in the body. And then just completing this simple exercise, comparing all of these. So we're going to be starting with our body systems this week, learning a little bit more about that, and then creating this little project together. So stick with me at 11 and possibly a short small group session at 1 o'clock so we can complete this together.